Wait, I'm sorry. You want me to record a video? No. Oh yeah, local Ragnarok. No, I don't want to. I can't record a. I don't want to record a video. Can't you see I'm doing a raid here? Oh, you're getting me killed. No, I can't put Jotunnslayer down. You can blame Will. Backing track. Go check him out. Go yell at him. You can blame him for my addiction to this. I played the demo. I knew it was going to be great. I specifically waited to buy it so I didn't get hooked on it when I didn't have time. Now, I'm hooked on the game and I'm neglecting everything else because I can't put it down. Blame him. I'm not recording. Get this camera out of my... This is Jotunnslayer, or Jotunnslayer, Hordes of Hel. This is a game that had a demo out earlier this year and then released not too long later. And it is a lot of fun. I would describe it as Vampire Survivors meets Diablo. It is the action roguelike kind of auto shooter style game with big O Diablo style bosses, a very Viking Nordic theme, which is awesome. But not a lot of depth in terms of story or experience. It is purely a survivor's game, which is its own genre now in the roguelike universe. You can see here you have a few things to do in the menus when you're not playing. You have your skill shop where you can spend gold that translates... you earn gold in the game, and then that translates into skill points, which you can then spend on upgrades for your different characters that you can play as. There is a total of 6 at the moment. I have the Seeress completely maxed out. And then you can also spend the points on the 8 different gods. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, 8 different gods that you unlock progressively as you play. I have Thor almost maxed out. You earn these points as over time as you play. You also have the Trophy Hall, which are basically achievements that then give you extra skill points or soul stones. So this one that I haven't unlocked yet actually gives me soul stones. This is a currency. None of these you can pay money for, by the way. The soul stones are a currency you can use to buy weapons for your individual characters. So your characters and your gods you unlock as you play, as you beat certain levels and beat with different characters and all that. But then, as you get those soul stones, you can buy the different weapons, which are not always upgrades. They just have different things. So the weapons affect a little bit your primary autocast attack, but primarily your secondary attack that you trigger manually. And so that is what that description of the heat wave here or hot wave, for example, that is something I will trigger with the left bumper on my controller to showcase. And then you also have some skins that you can unlock through just completing different objectives. They don't actually change anything. They just change how you look. So for example, I can unlock the pirate dagger here. We'll give that a go. I have no idea if it's any good, but we're going to play with it. Then you have an assortment of a few different locations that you can play in and difficulties for those locations. Now there's only a few. You unlock them basically by beating the prior one. And they all have different gimmicks and ways that it affects the gameplay. We'll start... I'll just show the first. Well, we'll start here in the second one as it's a little more challenging. You then also have difficulties. So you have normal, hard, eventually unlock insane once you beat it on hard. I've only played through all the difficulties on one of the levels so far. And then you also have endless mode. And then you also have modifiers over here, which I do not have on this one. I have on this level because I've unlocked basically everything. So you have Brave Chicken, which will make enemies do less damage, but then you get less for it. You have Evil Dead, which gives them a chance to survive without actually dying, like a chance to just not die. And then Greedy Masochist, which just increases enemy damage, but also increases what resources you get from it, which you can then stack with the difficulties. And you can see over here on the left, the difficulties affect enemy difficulty, how long you have to spend in it to compensate for that, the number of objectives you have to complete before unlocking the final boss, and then a bonus of how many resources you get. This is a fascinating... Obviously, there's other modifiers that I haven't unlocked as well, and it looks like the modifiers apply differently to endless mode. Bad cards, it gives you one less skill you can use, but then you get more resources. Talentless Child gives you less experience, but more resources. Interesting. The difficulties with this kind of stack kind of interestingly, because you already get harder enemies, more objectives to complete in only a little bit more time, but then you can make it even harder. So I think we're going to fire up. We'll try the fire level on normal just to showcase here. And I believe we're playing the Flame Sister. So each character has different abilities. There's ranged characters and melee characters, and they play very differently. I'll probably do one of each just to show you a couple of these 15-minute runs. But it's a lot of fun. So you have your basic autocast, which you can either just have it auto-prioritize enemies, which I do early on just to get quick levels so that I'm not missing my shots. Each level, which you get by picking up crystals, just like in Vampire Survivors. Very, very Vampire Survivors. You will either get a couple gods to pick from or a god and your class skills to pick from. So I'm going to go ahead and pick class just because I haven't unlocked much with that god. But I actually don't like either of these either. So I'm going to use a reroll just like in Vampire Survivors. You can banish certain abilities. So I can banish this one, for example, and then reroll everything. It did not give me the autocast that I want, although I will try those. So each level you get abilities either from your class or from the gods, kind of like Hades as well, and then you continue playing. Now you also have a number of objectives you have to beat before you unlock the Jotun, or the Jotun, the boss, and you can choose difficulty for these, which give you more rewards. So I want more gold so that I can get more points towards unlocking my skills, which means killing a couple runners. Now we've unlocked a god ability, so I want to try to go for... I want the Thunderstorm or the Sentinel. We got Thunderstorm. There we go. As a little pro tip, you want to try to unlock your autocast skills as quickly as possible. You can get... I'll show you in a sec when I level up again. So if we hit R1 to go over to the overview, you can unlock 3 god skills per run and 2 class skills per run. And then eventually you get a subclass as well. These are limited. You can only unlock this number of these things, but then you get passive abilities both for your class and for your god that you can get as many as you want of. You can just keep stacking them up every time you level up. So you want to get your autocast abilities as quickly as possible and start leveling them up as quickly as possible so you can be as destructive as fast as you can before the level gets too difficult. Then you can start stacking up passives to start scaling things ridiculously, and you can start doing crazy stuff like scaling your damage with your health and keep scaling your health up and all sorts of stuff. It is pretty neat. So we already have 2 autocast abilities and our class autocast ability. And obviously you want to balance your time spent hoarding your levels with time spent doing the objective. In terms of your actions you have to do, you have your autocast, obviously. This god right here, Brock and Sindri, these only give you passives. So I'm actually going to skip for now. And I will get my daggers. You have your autocast, and you can aim it with the right thumbstick, or your mouse. I think you can left click to start manually aiming on mouse and keyboard. You can manually aim or autocast. You have your autocast abilities that are on a rotating timer that can be manipulated with passives and other upgrades. You have your dash, which for me is R1, and this single character has 2 dashes available. And then L1 is your weapon ability, so that's the hot wave that we unlocked when we unlocked this weapon. We can look at Freya here. Do we want... I don't know that I want that one. I'm going to use my last reroll. Yeah, golden discs. I really like those. So we'll do golden discs. And then if there are too many enemies in front of me, which these are not strong enough to count as... Well, I'll show you my L1 again in a second. We'll keep leveling up Thunderstorm. We'll just go on L1 as the hot wave. So, boom, just shoots out a big cloud. You cannot aim that necessarily. Most of the weapon skills you can't really aim. You will see these things targeting the ground at the moment. That is, this specific level has a big cannon that will spawn at different points that you just need to go destroy. Level up my daggers. So you will see some of those have yellow circles that show an extra unlock state. You can get those through leveling up your class skills and your god skills and things like that with your skill points in the menu I showed before we started playing. And those are the basics. You want to level up your skills as quickly as possible and then just start stacking as many passives as you want, which is really nice to just be able to keep stacking passives.
compared to something like Vampire Survivors, where you have to be a little bit more meticulous about your builds. Of course, there is still a lot of RNG with regards to what passives you actually get, and you have to balance your banishes and rerolls to get what you want, which frankly I don't use that much. I generally just try to use what is handed to me. You got to pick up gold. Any gold you don't pick up when you finish the level will not be picked up for you. Oh. Alright, so you heard ho ho ho. The god Odin has a Christmas-themed unlock where you can sometimes get a chance to get double god upgrades, which is wonderful. So now you see here I only have passives because it doesn't give me a chance to upgrade my active autocast ability. And so one passive can be upgraded twice, increases all of Thor's lightning damage. One gives me a passive that every time I level up, and sometimes when I dash, it'll release a powerful circle wave of lightning damage. And then the next one increases all god skills damage. These all stack really nicely. I'm going to start with the overwhelming potential just to get that going in there because it will be useful for the thunderstorm. And then I am making my way here towards a chest, which you get for certain rewards for leveling up or defeating elite enemies. And these give you things like, just like in Vampire Survivors, a magnet to pick up all crystals on the map, extra rerolls, or in this case, extra experience. I don't care about my rerolls that much, and I haven't defeated that many enemies yet to make magnets worth it, so I'm going to use the Crystal Geode. You also do not need to pick these up right away. These will stay on the map until the boss is unlocked. So you can actually stack these later, which is probably a better idea, especially if you want the magnet. Like, I haven't killed enough stuff for the magnet to be worth it. You will also see on the map I have a little gold icon. Sometimes upon level up, you get these gold little bird things, and these are just like the gold goblins in any game. You just chase it down and kill it before it disappears, and you get extra gold. Alright, clairvoyance. Some gods give you abilities to unlock extra experience as you go, which you want to get earlier on so that you can level up faster. It's kind of not, there's not much point to it later on. And you see here right now, I am waiting to be given a new objective, and that's when you just farm enemies while you wait for the next objective to unlock before you can unlock the boss. These are both easy and give the same rewards, so I'll go with the one that only requires me to do one thing. Those waves of enemies are super nice for farming crystals for level up. All right, now we've hit level 11, which unlocks our subclass, which gives us extra bonuses. This one allows me to, the first one allows me to avoid more attacks. This one gives me more burn damage and a lower cooldown. This one gives me more god skill damage and allows the Blazing Soul ability to heal me a little bit. I'm going to go with that one. Although we're on normal, I don't really need to heal that much. But, you know. Head over to this portal. The maps seem really big, but once you start trucking across them, honestly, I don't think they're anywhere near as big as the Vampire Survivors ones. These little pots on the map sometimes contain gold, sometimes contain food. More often than not, in my experience, they contain nothing at all. All right, so in the short run, I'm going to get more benefit in unlocking Overwhelming Potential 2 to bump up Thor's damage to 40%. However, this Might of Medjingord increases God's skills damage and allows me to keep upgrading it more. So those stack together wonderfully, and I'm going to go on and unlock this so both of them are working in my favor and can be upgraded together later. So a little bit of strategy there in choosing your upgrades. Not too crazy. Maybe we'll do a hard difficulty for the second one when I show you a ranged character. I really like the ranged characters. Flame Sister, once you get some range on her, like you can increase her attack range. She's not too locked into being a melee. I find the Berserker, which is the default first character, is a melee character, and you've got to be really up close and personal, but not usually my play style. So objectives can be anything from chasing down certain enemies, killing bosses. In this case, I'm killing enemies that are spawned in by this portal, often from other levels. I'm going to upgrade, yeah, here. Increase attack range by 30%. Like, that's pretty good. And then I don't got to worry about being too close anymore. So this one just requires me to defeat the enemies coming in from the portal. Broadly speaking, you do not have to complete these on a timer or anything, but you do have the overall timer for your raid itself, and you need to complete all of the required objectives to unlock the boss. If you run out of time, you will not unlock the boss, and you will just lose the raid. Alright, this one increases health. We've not been taking damage so far, so this one allows me to chain lightning on close by enemies whenever I attack. This is a 15% chance. So I'm going to go on and do that. And then next time we get Thor, we should start scaling damage again. You get gold for completing the objectives. And now we just farm enemies waiting on the next objective. This character already kind of chains fire damage on attacks sometimes anyway, so that's a double chain possibility, which is lovely. You can also get abilities for certain classes to allow you to pick up your experience orbs at further ranges, which is very handy. I know the Seer at least has it. Alright, yeah, I want Master Assassin. I really need to start leveling up my... I mean, again, this is normal. I'm not super stressed about losing, but I really need to prioritize if I'm going to kind of optimize a build here, upgrading my skills next. I've been a little too focused on the passives. It's really hard. It's really hard, not the game, but like the tendency to just want to hoard passives instead of upgrading your abilities, when the abilities are going to have the most immediate, obvious impact on your experience, I think. The passives stack and scale really nicely, but if you're not doing enough damage in the first place, how far are they going to get you? So we will go ahead and upgrade the autocast. Okay, I'm just going over here to unlock a chest while we farm experience orbs. While we ponder our orb, so to speak. I know this is pretty basic. I mean, it's a Vampire Survivors clone with prettier graphics. And like I said, there's not really much of a story to be had if you're into, like, I know I compared it to Vampire Survivors meets Diablo. It's not going to have a Diablo action RPG story. It's not really an RPG. It's a Survivors game. But, oh, we got double chest. Nice. I will go ahead and use the magnet just to be safe. And we got an level up from our experience that we got, so I will turn on max level for our Vipers. Nice. And then the magnet will pick up whatever crystals. Yeah, there was nothing to pick up. That magnet was wasted, but that's fine. We didn't really need the damage buff either. But yeah, if you're expecting a game like Diablo, it's not going to provide you the story parts, but I find these games very addicting when they itch just right. Vampire Survivors itch just right for a time. I didn't get it at first, and then I just couldn't put it down. This is a game that I knew I wouldn't put down once I started, and yeah, I have not been able to put it down. So something different that is in Vampire Survivors that you're not going to see in this is you don't fuse abilities. That was a cool thing and a really hard thing, admittedly, to keep track of in Vampire Survivors, was you could unlock certain combinations of your skills, and they would fuse together to make better skills, and that would sometimes unlock a... Alright, so this challenge is going to make it super hot and lots of tornadoes and some exploding minions that I have to survive, and that scales the difficulty for more gold, so I'm going to turn that on. But yeah, that added a cool element to Vampire Survivors. It made it really hard to keep track of those things. If you wanted to keep track of builds, you needed a guide up and blah, blah, blah. But that is not present in this game. So instead... you have, I meant to show you, we haven't really unlocked one yet, but you have the ability, once you spend your skill points on them, to unlock an evolved state of your abilities that you can spend your upgrades on. And so, like the Thunderstorm that's going on right now, every time I've leveled it up, it's shot more lightning, done more damage, etc., like you'd kind of expect. Once I hit that max evolve level, it actually drops down to only one lightning strike. Although there is a double cast option that you can use abilities like passives to get. But it only has one lightning strike, but then has a massive range and does a lot more damage. We're going to fight this elite in the flame zone just to save time. This is a harder enemy with its own health bar. That went down pretty quickly. That has like ranged attacks and stuff. Class skill upgrade or movement speed? We'll do the class skill upgrade. Oh, we get double chest. Yeah, we will stack God skill damage some more. Okay, here we're unlocking the evolved state of our daggers. So this one does almost a full 720 degrees. So yeah, a full round Has a longer cooldown though, but does more daggers, more damage, and more range for it. Not as changing as the... It's pretty cool though. Not as changing as the thunderstorm, but seeing it go around the circle multiple times is pretty sick. Yeah, those flame tornadoes do damage. Each level has some... The levels are kind of repetitive. They all have their own little gimmicks and different themes, but they all have their same kind of challenges where they have, like, the ice level has a winter storm and ice golems and whatever. Alright, gonna max out that autocast just so we're good. Ow. This level has those little root thing, the spines to kind of trap you a little bit. Once you level up your characters enough and get used to it, normal difficulty is not much of a challenge, but you still kind of want to farm it a bit sometimes. At least I do. Just to more easily get gold and unlock other things, because the harder difficulties can be quite unforgiving. I took a lot of damage there that I didn't need to, but like I'm not worried about it. We got food everywhere on the map. Let's level up Freya. We can level up our golden discs or increase class skill damage. Yeah, we'll take guidance. Some D&D references in here, which is pretty neat. We have unlocked, you can see top left, you have soul stones and gold. I believe that's what you've unlocked in the specific run. I don't know what I would have done to unlock that many soul stones this run, so I'm not gonna swear to it, but the gold gets turned into skill points at the end of each round, so I don't know why that wouldn't be tracked per run. Just trying to make my way to the crate, or to the chest while farming. Getting lots of gold. But again, remember, you need like 12 gold per skill point to unlock, which is just kind of bananas. Once again, I'm going to go with the Crystal Geode just to keep levels going. We've got mostly passives now since we've maxed everything else out. Increased chance to inflict burn, increased critical hit chance. We'll do burn. So that means I need to focus more on gods for now to get those leveled up, so I will not be doing class stuff for a little bit. This new plus sign I'm making my way towards on the map is a health station to just fully heal your health. It usually shows up about this point in the raid. Which is kind of nice. I often don't honestly use them. Like if I'm that struggling for health by this point in the run, I'm probably going to have a bad time. Because there are lots of abilities you can get that will scale your healing and whatever. Alright, I'm going to max out Thunderstorm, which you can see here, Evolve takes it down from 10 strikes to 1, but the radius goes up to 4 meters and the cooldown drops to 2 seconds, which is bananas. Goes much quicker, does a lot more damage. You cannot control where it goes, so it often just hits nothing, but that's the name of the game. I mean, the name of the game is Jotunnslayer, Hordes of Hel, but hey, where's my birdie? Where's my gold guy? Oh, right here. There we go. More gold. Let's go take out the tower for our next objective, and then we should be good. We're doing pretty good on level. I'm pretty sure it just keeps scaling, but like once you get up to the 20s, at least for normal and hard, like you're fine. Alright, we're mostly on passives for Thor as well now. I will go ahead and pick up that last Thor damage buff because that's going to be insane with the lightning. And new objective. Let's see, what do we got? Destroy the Nith things. We'll do that. These are annoying and a big part of why you have to manage your time better because they spread across the map pretty far and wide. And so you got to traverse a lot for it. So if you're wasting your time, you're going to have a hard time getting to everything. Especially if it takes you a while to beat the stuff. You're going to have a hard time getting to everything in time to beat the boss. The boss does not have the timer. So these Nith things, the little things we have to destroy here. All of our class and god abilities are disabled. We only have our autocast melee attack. It is really annoying, and the hitbox like magnetism for these kinds of objectives is really not great. That is my only complaint so far about like the entire game, is that specific type of objective is miserable because nothing ever feels like it detects right. Alright, let's level up. Ooh, collecting range. Yeah, we'll take that. That's probably not the right play, but I really like the pickup range. Alright. Makes it so much easier. Look how far we're picking it up. Oh god, this map has a center hole. I always forget. Gold will not be labeled on the map, and it will not, like I said, it will not be saved for you at the end of the game, so you need to pick it up on your own. I should not have done Thor here, but yeah, we'll take the god skills buff, damage buff. Like we're just putting out insane numbers at this point. Yeah, so it mutes you, so you only have your melee attack and you can't easily target it. Auto target does a decent job, but all right, we got one more left, and we got a chest. I believe this will be our last objective before the boss. Yeah, that's timing. It better be. And then we can fight the boss. I guess this has gone on long enough. I'm probably not going to showcase a full separate run. I will say some things about how it plays on the Steam Deck at the end, and that footage will have some ranged gameplay, I guess. Flame Sister. Yeah, we'll do class damage. Okay, these are actually way... As much as I just leveled that complete... Wow, that elite went down instantly. That's crazy. Alright, we'll take the gold. Holy cow. As much as I just complained about how hard those objectives are, the auto attack does it just fine. So I take that back. I clearly just needed to be using auto attack. Alright, so now we have unlocked the ability to summon the big boss that we need to take out in order to win. I'm going to take out one of these towers... cannon towers on the way just because they're annoying, and I'm pretty sure they will keep shooting us as we go. We'll level up golden discs. You want to get whatever levels here before the boss shows up now, because you will stop getting experience during the boss fight. Whatever level you go into the boss fight is more or less the level you fight him at. There can be some residual XP from enemies you kill near it, and sometimes the first like wave of enemies I fight during the boss fight will still drop XP. But it does not last long. And so you basically need to assume whatever level you start the fight at is more or less what you're going to be at, so you want your upgrades where you're at. But again, we only have a minute left until we can't fight the boss anymore and we lose. So we don't want that either. You do get some hefty gold for fighting the boss in the first place. There we go. Got our last little golden bird. And this would be a good opportunity to take that healing station should you need it. The little plus sign on the map. I do not. Alright, 29's not a bad place to be. Increases attack speed. That can't hurt, especially at this point. Taking a little more damage than I'd like right before the boss fight, but like it's fine. Alright, 28 seconds. I was hoping to get to level 30. I think we can do it. Yep. We got this. Boom, look at all that XP. Alright, level 30 is a good place to be at. We'll level up our discs? No, we will not. Okay. Well, that would have been useful earlier. Picking up gold is not going to happen now, so I guess I'll take the double cast. Oh, we're so close to another level. Wait, don't tempt fate. Don't tempt fate. Unlock the boss. Oh, that was dumb. That was really dumb. I've never been this close. Okay. That was completely unnecessary. Alright. So this is the flame boss. He has his own arena. The ice boss just kind of shows up in the normal arena, and you're kind of locked out a part of it. But once you get to the boss fight, it is basically just a game of kiting. If you've ever played Doom or Destiny, it is basically just kiting the boss and letting your autocast do most of the work while dodging some mobs. And trying to like lead him into your god skills too sometimes is necessary. Gotta dodge a little bit, but otherwise you're just kiting. Waiting on cooldowns. I'm making this look super easy. It is very challenging at first. Once you have your characters leveled up and stuff, like I said, the normal difficulties become way more manageable. I am like 9 hours, I think, into the game. For most of that, normal's been a fair fight this whole time. And he's dead. Like I said, not a whole lot of depth in terms of story or like necessarily maybe even gameplay, but it is super addicting. Oh, we unlocked a new modifier. 20% time rush. That's actually exciting. I really liked that in Vampire Survivors. I do wonder, though, if that means you got to move on objectives quicker. So, once you complete a game, your gold is transformed into skill points. And then you can spend those on your gods or your characters. I'm gonna level up some gods. These have the biggest impact. So, real quick, I want to show the gods each have 2 different kinds, basically, of things you can unlock. The first is, let's go with, like, Odin here. The first is either new auto attacks that you can unlock or evolutions on existing ones. The second is permanent passives that apply to every character, even if you've not unlocked, even if you don't buy any skills during the raid with that god. So, like, all of these that I've unlocked apply to all of my characters at all times. I would almost always suggest going for these first. Finding the permanent passives and just unlocking all of them, because they will immediately make your character... This is basically leveling up your character, because it applies to all of your characters all the time. And so, obviously they have different benefits. I really liked the Odin permanent passives, the Yule Fathers, because it gives you double skill and reward chances, which is great. He also has Defiant... Blasphemy +1. I don't actually know what that is. Lets you defy and banish any other god that crosses your path. I don't know what that is. I'm going to unlock it just out of morbid curiosity because I've never seen it. And then we'll spend 1 skill point on critical hit damage +5. And that is all our skill points. So leveling up can be pretty slow, but the impact is actually really, really high. You also have, like I showed, your trophy hall, which tracks based on achievements and can give you skill points or soul stones to then spend on unlocks for your character. And they take a lot. Steam Deck wise, I've been playing this a bunch on the Steam Deck, which is how I've racked up so many hours in a short amount of time. And it is a really good time. This is a game that I can run at, I don't know what frame rate I'm running at right now. I guess let's hop into the game and I can see. I'm pretty sure I'm just running it at a locked 120. Like, I think I have it frame locked to 120. It runs great on my high-end PCs. I can run it a locked, I think, 120 on this display, 240 on my display in my house where I play a lot of it. On the Steam Deck, it is a little bit more of a chug fest. I am running it at a locked-ish 45 frames per second. So I turn off the Steam Deck frame limiter. I set it to 45 hertz in the Steam Deck settings. And then I go into the game settings. The game settings actually has various frame rate caps and set it to 45 FPS as the frame rate cap. Now, when I get to the end of levels where there's just mobs everywhere, it does chug a little bit, but it has not once affected my gameplay, like, at all. Like, I've not had any major issues with it. And while it's not an ideal frame rate to be gaming at, it's honestly been fine. I haven't... Vampire Survivors ran way worse, so not a big deal. I've had a good time with it. My only complaint is that on the Steam Deck, it only gives me 2 resolution options. That's 1280 by 720 or the native display res of 1280 by 1800. I would love to experiment with seeing if I could run it at like 480p and using the FSR or something to upscale it up to my Steam Deck's resolution. I don't know why it's locked that way. It's super weird, especially because the game on normal PC has DLSS and FSR and stuff. So that might squeeze a lot more performance out for a game where I don't need a ton of resolution visibility. You need visibility, but ultimately I'm a circle dodging other circles. I don't know. This is Jotunnslayer. I hope I'm saying that right. Hordes of Hel. Fantastic game. Absolutely worth the like 20 bucks it costs. It's eaten up a lot of my time this year, or this month really, and will continue to eat up my time for the next year if Vampire Survivors is anything to go by. Thank you so much for watching. Go check out the rest of my What Is Up With playlist in the description down below. Yeah. Remember to be kind. Rewind. See ya.